Our verse for today is the final verse of 1 Corinthians 15, and it's one of my favorite verses in this entire letter. And Paul writes as he's urging and encouraging and trying to motivate the Christians in Corinth. He says to them, therefore, at the end of this whole discussion about the resurrection, he says, therefore, my beloved, be steadfast, immovable, always excelling in the work of the Lord, because you know that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. So here Paul is trying to encourage the church to choose the path of courage in life, choose to endure. And those words he uses, be steadfast. What does it mean to be steadfast and immovable? Well, it means we're not people who are weak or wavering or unstable. We don't want to be that way, especially in our spirit, in our heart, in our mind. We want to be solid. We want to have a sense that God is with us. We want to have convictions that we hold on to firmly, that, to use the analogy that Jesus uses of the wise and foolish man. Remember back early in the Gospels that the wise person builds his or her house on a rock, on a solid foundation. So when the storms of life come, we are not easily shaken. And that's the sort of thing that Paul is talking about, that in our faith we want to be steadfast and immovable. And then he goes back to a phrase which he had used in chapter 14. You remember he said in chapter 14, verse 12, about spiritual gifts, strive to excel in them for the building up of the church. And earlier in 1 Corinthians, he talks about running and competing for the prize so that you may win it. Paul is someone who really encourages us as Christians to strive to excel, to pursue excellence, to give it everything we've got as a follower of Jesus, to be all in our level of commitment, as Paul clearly was. And when he says that we are to be imitators of him as he is an imitator of Christ, that is perhaps one of the most admirable things about Paul, is his incredible commitment and dedication to following the way of Jesus and sharing it with others. So be steadfast, immovable, always excelling. Don't slack in the work of the Lord. Why? Because you know that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. Back in John 15, Jesus talked about abiding in him and how apart from him we can do nothing of lasting value. And that, again, seems to be part of what I think Paul is echoing here. The work that we do in and for the Lord is never in vain, even if we don't necessarily get to see the fruit or the final impact of what we have done in someone else's life. So be steadfast today, be immovable, and keep excelling in the work of the Lord, and know that all that you do for the Lord, it's never in vain.